Alright, everybody, welcome back to this Power Podcast, and today I'll be talking about if Ohio State fans should be worried or optimistic about Will Howard. So if you don't know, Will Howard transferred from Kansas State to Ohio State this season, and we were able to see a little bit of him during the spring game a weekend ago, but I figured I'd just give my analysis on him because a lot of fans are still questionable at him about if he's good or not, and some people might be worried. I know a lot of Ohio State fans I know are a little worried about him. So I just want to give my opinions on him and, if I'm optimistic or worried about him. I would say that some of his strengths is that he's a great runner. He had 9 rushing touchdowns last season and over 350 yards at Kansas State. So I'd say that's pretty good for a dual threat. He can throw really well, and he throws good. And his dual threat is something that Buckeye fans haven't seen in a while, probably since, what would it be, Justin Fields in 2019, 2020. So it's been a while since we've had a dual threat quarterback, and I really think that will help us. His attributes are really good because also we have Quinshon Judkins in the backfield and Henderson, which all three of those guys are going to be really hard to account for in the backfield for defenses especially, and it's really good to have a dual threat quarterback, which is one reason why I like Will Howard. He's tough. He runs hard. So those are some of his strengths. I would say he probably, even if he's not like an amazing thrower, he should be able to get the ball to the receivers good enough. Like, the ball doesn't have to be like a perfect throw every time. It just needs to be close enough to where our wide receivers can make plays with it. Because, we have some of the best wide receivers in college football, if not the best wide receiver room. I think that'll make his job easier, which is probably what he needs considering he's going to be a new quarterback in a new offense. Some disadvantage I see with him, though, is that sometimes he isn't very careful with the ball, at least what I think. He hasn't really gelled with the offense yet. That's what I saw in the spring game. It seemed like he was a little uncomfortable still with the offense at times, and he turns it over a decent bit. He had 14 interceptions last season and a few fumbles, which, to be honest, isn't amazing. Ohio State quarterbacks have a really high expectation every season, to be one of the greatest quarterbacks in college football every year. I think Buckeye fans would say Kyle McCord probably disappointed us last season a little bit. I personally think he was pretty good, but, he lost to Michigan, so. But that's not the point. Will Howard, he needs to be a little more careful with the ball. I know, he seems a little too, I don't know. He seems like he always is trying to make a play when sometimes he just needs to take a check down. I actually think in the spring game he was pretty good at that, but when I watch him at Kansas State, I think he is a little uncareful with the ball at times, I would say. And, I think he could be really good if he keeps that under control, and I think that'll take away one of his biggest weaknesses. So the question everybody is wanting to answer is, should you be worried or optimistic about him? Personally, I would say to be optimistic. Like I said, with all the support we have on the offense, O-line is getting better, great wide receivers, great running backs. Great coaching staff also. Not to mention that, probably one of the best offensive coordinators in the country now that he can work with. I think he should be fine with that. He won a Big 12 championship as well against TCU, the season that they made the playoffs. So he can win big games. He's proven that. And I think that's really huge because if you remember Kyle McCord last year, he hasn't really won any big games. He was just starting out. At least Will Howard, the difference between him is that he's actually won games. He's actually proven himself more than Kyle McCord has, which I think is honestly a huge trait. That is really important for quarterbacks at Ohio State to have. I think if he can develop with the offense and, keep running and throwing touchdowns and then keeping the turnovers a little bit lower, I think we should be fine. Keep in mind those stats were also at Kansas State, and, Kansas State has probably a lot worse of an offense than Ohio State does. So, those stats were with worse players as well. Not to be mean to Kansas State fans, but, they definitely were. So, I would say be optimistic. You know, we got a new quarterback from the transfer portal. I think you should be optimistic about him. I like him. He looks good, and he had a decent spring game. So I would say be optimistic about him. But who knows what will happen, you know? But that's just my take on him. Thanks for watching the video, and make sure to like and subscribe, and share the podcast if you like it. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.